India's textile and apparel industry does faces some structural problems and challenges pertaining to the supply chain and outbound logistics later. Other concerns also include competition between different sectors within the industry, lack of coordination among the links in the supply chain. One of the top priorities for the industry right now is to control the rising raw material cost, which is giving quite of a sleepless night for manufacturers. Those are the kind of prospects we're going to discuss today at this very forum. And that is why we convene, to collectively address and deliberate upon these inherent concerns. At the moment, clouds are gathering. The uncertainty created by geopolitics continue to loom large over the industry. However, the experience of the recent years do suggest that the fashion industry may ride out of the challenges ahead instantly. Because geopolitical tensions not only affects the supply chain, but also consumer confidence. Already characterized by high inflation and residual supply chain disruptions post-pandemic, events such as the recent conflict in Ukraine and the most recent Iran's attack on Israel and ensuing economic sanctions only exacerbate market stability. Taking this into the very first point for consideration and deliberation, I would come to Mr. Mithileshwar. So, how are geopolitical factors impacting the apparel and textile industry, the supply chain or the value chain system, and what strategies are being implemented to navigate and counter the challenges arising from the shifts and changes in all of these uncertainties? I request your kind deliberate response.
Good morning, everyone. The geopolitical, the first hint of, I would say, geopolitical issues and tensions, disrupting supply chain, I think came with US 232 measures on China, imposing 20% duty on steel and 10% on aluminum and disrupting the whole value chain itself. But I think last few years, particularly last year, has seen a new high in geopolitical tensions, disrupting the entire supply chain, leave alone apparel. See, the first thing that happened was Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now the impact on apparel trade, I would say, that in spite of India-UAE CEPA having been signed and a potential gain that we were looking for did not happen. Reason being that many European brands disappeared from Ukraine, and India's export to UAE of those garments which were supposed to cater to the needs of European brands did not happen. So in spite of India-UAE CEPA having been signed, there has been kind of a decline in UAE exports. That was one. But on the other hand, it presented a unique opportunity for India to actually engage in direct bilateral apparel trade. And that is something that has happened. Our delegation visited Russia, and you would see, though the volume of trade is not something to write home about, but then it did witness an increase of almost 100% last year in the apparel export to Russia, which is an encouraging sign. And with the internationalization of Indian rupee and a special rupee escrow account having been opened by many countries, including Russia, I think the bilateral trade between India and Russia can only go bigger and better, and I think we should seize every possible opportunity. Now there are certain issues that need to be addressed again here, because the conventional route was, of course, the Red Sea route, or your China-Pakistan economic corridor, or the Belt and Road Initiative. But with the diplomatic relation with our neighbor touching a new low, that and Taliban infested Afghanistan route was little tricky. So I think there is a case for an alternate route, because with Black Sea route having been closed, I think the transit time has gone up to, I think, 60 days. That's what was told. Now, Concord in India, actually, they have signed an MOU with Russian Rail, Logistic Operation, ZLD, basically to encourage trade through what we call international north-south transport corridor. So I think there is a need to basically, go speedy, need for effecting speedy implementation of that MOU, so that we can realize the true potential of the trade, and because that will result in reduction of the transit time. So that is one. Second, the geopolitical tension that happened was, of course, Israel and Hamas war, and then and that, of course, finally led to Red Sea crisis. And Red Sea crisis, that our logistics costs have gone abnormally high. There were reports that I think the container charges went up to 400%. And then because going through that Cape of Good Hope route, I think it led to additional time of some 22 days to reach the market that we were planning to reach. But then that again opens a window of opportunity, because we can probably engage more and more with African countries, with South American countries, because essentially the apparel trade has been too US and EU centric. Almost 71% of our India's exports basically are accounted by the Indian industry. There is this poor speed to market. We take quite a lot of time. So I think we will have to, the extraordinary problems require extraordinary solutions. So we need to think out of box. So I was just wondering, why can't we think of setting up warehouses, abroad, particularly those free trading hubs and free ports, so that the transit time ultimately to the consumer could be minimized. That's one way. Another problem I was told that in particularly fast fashion, all of that, you need fashion forecasting. That is something I think we are not very good at. So why don't we can use big data or artificial intelligence, because ultimately, the industry, our productivity is less, capacity utilization is down, because we are, essentially cotton centric, not to MMF. It will take time to, to gain that, remove that imbalance of cotton MMF. So and in turn to improve the capacity utilization. So why can't we improve our business process, efficiency through infusion of, innovation and industry 4.0? So we can use all these technologies as much as we can in fashion forecasting. We can use big data, artificial intelligence. So because of course our logistic performance, I think over a period of time has improved quite a lot. Our LPI has gone down drastically. The turnaround time actually is now almost comparable with the global standards, and your what you call cargo dwell time of 60 hours in import. Not in comparison with, of course, OECD countries, but then we are doing quite well. But the major problem is different. Major problem is unpredictability in India's custom clearances. Because see, okay, the facilitated cargoes, they get cleared, but those which are not facilitated cargo, then you just don't know the time limit that they would take. So that kind of unpredictability needs to go. We should try and automate our custom clearances as much as we want. On marine tariff lines, we hardly collect any duty. In fact, 85% of India's duty is collected from only 10% of tariff lines. So there is no reason, have duties on all the tariff lines and give a projection as if we are a inward-looking country, a protectionist country. Because, of course, our average custom tariff, if you see, is much below the bound rate. But nonetheless, I think our tariff is definitely more than, some of the European countries and developed world. So if you don't collect tariff on that, so we can jolly well remove that. That will, hasten and fast and make the custom clearances more faster and better. So I think some of these fundamental changes, that mental block has to go, that we need to hold on to certain things. I would say that, see, I'm just giving an example of for nothing related to this. Now you have custom notifications, Now tell me how many of you can easily decipher what the custom notification talks about? You will have to refer to 10 different notifications to make something out of it. Either a bureaucrat understands or a consultant understands. So you have to basically take it to the masses, you need to translate this into vernaculars, I would say, or write in a very simple language, the effect of the notification. So you need to simplify, because the mere tall talk that yes, we have our rank in EODB has gone up and trade facilitation has really improved, but I think there is much more that we need to do.